Hey everyone, it's your girl Shonda B. White. Thanks for tuning in. So today I just kind of want to talk about something that comes up a lot of times, that a lot of people ask me a lot. So I've been married 8 years now. We've been together for 10 years. Just see him in the nice little background. That's my boo. So a lot of people always ask me, like, how did you know he was the one? Or when did you know? Like, what was different about that relationship? And I always have to preface it by saying, like, there's no silver bullet to, love, and there's no one way because everybody goes through different experiences. But all I can say is what I went through and what I experienced and what I knew to be true for myself because I can only share my personal truth and stand in that. So, what I want to kind of talk with you all today about is 8 signs he may be the one, based on what I personally went through. Like I said, there's no silver bullet here, and there's no end all be all type of way. But for me personally, it's something that I want to share, and it was part of my book, Don't Be a Wife to a Boyfriend 10 Lessons I Learned When I Was Single. If you don't have it, you can cop that on Amazon. But it was something that I wanted to kind of explain because sometimes we're going through those relationships and we're trying to figure out, like, okay, how do I know this is different from a different relationship? Like, how do I know he's really into me? How do I know if he really wants to marry me? And so I want to share 8 quick things in terms of what I knew and signs that I paid attention to. The first one is his actions will speak louder than his words. So, this for me was major because there was a time when I used to think and I would go solely on a man's words and what he said to me. So, if he said he loved me, but his actions didn't match that, I would excuse his behavior because I felt like, well, he tells me that he loves me. He says that he cares about me. So, I mean, he wouldn't say it if he didn't mean it. Wrong. Because at the end of the day, men and women will say whatever they want to get what they want. You feel me? So what I had to stop doing was just simply going off of people's words and what they were saying to me and that sweet little pillow talk. And I had to really take hold of, okay, what are their actions saying? What is he doing for me? Like, does his actions line up with what he's saying and what he's telling me? Or is he lying, basically? Because my husband was very intentional about that when we started dating, because even though he was living in another city at the time, finishing up school, I was like, okay, it's whatever. He's like, well, I'm gonna come see you every month and I'm gonna make sure I make an effort. And I was like, yeah, right, he ain't gonna see me. Well, sure enough, every single month, and except with the exception of the month that I went to see him, but every single month he came and saw me, like, real talk. And I really didn't believe it. So by him doing that, I was like, okay, like, he's really serious about me. Like, he's really putting in an effort. And the fact that he was putting in an effort doing that and other things that he was doing in the relationship, I realized that it wasn't just about his words. It was more about what is he doing to show me that he really cares about me. Does that make sense? So the next one is you won't have to beg or force him to be with you. You will never have to beg a man. You will never have to, try to force him to be with you or try to trick him into being with you, and playing little games or whatever, because a man who wants to be with you will be with you. Point blank, period. You won't have to beg him. You won't have to, like, bribe him. He will make it known to everybody around him and to you that you are who he wants to be with and that he wants to be with you. So you don't have to worry about begging him. I didn't have to beg Eric, because I knew that he wanted to be with me. So that's that. Your bad habits will be replaced with good habits and old emotions replaced with new ones. I used to think that certain things that went on in my old relationships were normal, even though they weren't healthy for me. So, like, the constant drama, or, like, sneaking over to their house late at night, trying to figure out who's over there, confronting the side chick and the side piece and arguing and yelling. You're like, yeah, that's right. No, that was not normal and it wasn't healthy. Like, once I got with Eric, I realized, like, oh, you can have a happy relationship. You can have a happy marriage. Like, it doesn't have to be drama all the time. Like, yes, you're going to have disagreements. Yes, you're going to have arguments. You're not going to always like each other. You're going to get on each other's nerves because that's just real talk. But there was way more good than there was bad. And so realizing that just because you're used to something doesn't mean that's exactly what you deserve. because even though you may be used to going through that drama, you're like, oh girl, this, you know how me and John do, you know, we just be going through it, you know how me and Tim do. No, like that's not normal. Like you should be in a healthy relationship. And for me, there was nothing more healthier than what me and Eric was able to experience, and the fun that we have together, and the fun that we had together even as dating. It was totally different from anything that I had ever experienced. So those bad habits, remember, good men aren't bad habits. So you shouldn't feel bad because, you know, you're with him or you're back talking to him again, or you don't want to tell your friends because you know they're going to get mad. If you're scared to tell your friends because it seems like a bad habit or something, there's probably a reason why you think that, because it's, you're not feeling it. The next one, you will be able to look back at your past relationships as a stepping stone for your new one. So you'll be able to look back and not feel all bitter and angry about it, but you'll just be like, you know what? It is what it is. It happened. I learned from it. Just like all of the lessons that I go through this. I don't go and reflect on it just so I can like make somebody feel bad or so that I can like rehash old memories. No, it's to say like, look where I came from and look what God blessed me with because I came through it, or this is what I learned from that situation, or this is how that situation helped me in my relationship now because I learned I don't want that in a man, or I learned not to do that ever again, or I learned not to have that. I don't have to deal with that type of situation. I don't have to deal with lying and cheating constantly. Like I learned from that and I was able to move on. The next one, you won't have to worry about competing for the number one spot because you will be the only one. So yes, I go hard for my man because, you know, the thirst is real and women will try to take your man. But one thing I realized is that I didn't have to worry about competing with no side chicks, no side piece. You know, even though there was a little overlap when we started dating, I was like, listen, if I'm going to be your girl, like we're going to have to make this work. Like you're going to have to send a text or something. And Eric did what he had to do. And he actually did a lot of that before I even said it. He's like, listen, I done sent a text around town like Andre 3000 said. And he was like, I made it known like I can't talk to you like that anymore. We not cool. We not friends with benefits or whatever. Because he knew he wanted to make me that number one, that only girl for him, because I wasn't trying to play those games because I used to settle for that. I used to be like, well, at least I know he's coming back home to me. No, like, what good is it if he's coming back home to you, but he's been around town with everybody else? So for me, that wasn't enough, and I wasn't going to have that again. So you don't have to compete for that. The next one, you will experience or remember what it feels like to be loved. When I started dating Eric, I forgot just how awesome it feels to go on a real date. You know, when a man picks you up, he brings flowers and chocolates, or he takes you to a nice restaurant. Like, I forgot how that felt. And I really didn't understand what courting was. Like, courting is like the man who really puts in that effort to try to like to woo you so that you can eventually become his wife. And that's what my husband was doing for me. And he was doing all these things, and like he was opening doors for me. He still does to this day. And I thought, okay, he'll probably do this for like a month or so, but he still does it to this day. And so those types of things, like I realized, wow, this is what it feels like to be treated right. This is what it feels like to be treated like a queen. You know, my man was taking care of me. He still takes care of me. And I'm like, this is what it feels like to experience true love. Like, it feels euphoric. It's not like it's not like he was trying to get something from me. It was because he wanted to do it, you know. And so he did those things because he wanted to prove to me that he loved me and to show me that he was really into me. So that's another way you'll know. The next one, you won't have to be someone you're not because he'll accept you for who you are. My husband is an introvert and I'm an extrovert, as most of you probably know. So I could tend to be, you know, very outgoing, very talkative at times, sometimes loud. I'm very like, I like to meet people. My energy kind of feeds off of people and stuff. Where my husband, he's more laid back. Like if he knows you, he'll talk to you. But if he don't know you like that, like he's not trying to hear you. You know, he has to get to know you. Like, you got to grow on him a little bit, which is fine because it balances out. But he lets me be me. So when I'm in my element, or I'm, you know, doing Shonda, or if I'm at an event, or if I'm, you know, having to network with different people, like he lets me be me. And he's always made me feel comfortable with being who I am because I didn't have to feel like, you know, like I used to do. I used to be a relationship chameleon. So like, you know, the little animals or little reptiles, whatever, they're like chameleons. So they change colors based on their environment. Well, that's how I did. Instead of changing colors, I would change who I was just to cater to whoever I was in that relationship. or who I was with in that relationship. So if they were into a certain type of music, or if they were in a certain type of genre, reading a certain genre of books, or watching a certain type of TV, guess what? I was trying to do those same things. I was like coming to America like, whatever it is you like. You know, I was that girl that was changing up every single time I got into a relationship, until I finally realized, before I got with my husband, like, listen, the next man you get with, they're just gonna have to accept you for who you are. This is me, this is who I am. Have I grown and have I learned things about myself that I've altered and modified? Absolutely, because one thing marriage does, it will put a mirror on you and it will make you say, okay, Shonda, you might want to work on this, or Eric, you might need to like improve on this. It will do that. But I'm still at the core of who Shonda is. I'm still that girl, and my husband loves me for that. And a man who will be with you and he understands your worth and value, he's worth your time. So make sure you remember that, like, you understand and you know and you feel confident in who you are, and don't let anyone try to change you into something that you're not. Last but not least, and most importantly, you will not have to question it. You know, just like, have you ever been in a relationship and you feel something and you're like, this does not feel right? You have that female intuition, I like to call, and you just like, this relationship is not healthy for me. It just doesn't feel genuine. I don't think we're gonna make it, or I just don't feel like this is it. I don't feel like this is who God sent for me. Guess what? As strong as you feel that about a broken relationship, you will feel just as strong, even if not stronger, about the relationship with the person that God actually meant for you. So with Eric, I felt in my spirit, like, real talk. It sounds like kind of crazy, sounds a little cliche, but I felt like this is who I'm supposed to be with. And I felt like it was genuine. And I feel that each and every day with our relationship, because it was different from everything else. And so I didn't have to question whether he loved me, because he made that known through his actions. So not only was he saying it to me, but he was like living it out. And the intimacy that we share, because I'm gonna be honest, you can have sex with anybody, but the true intimacy comes from two people that have a connection on a deeper level. It goes below that surface. It goes below, you know, how pretty you look or how handsome or how sexy you are. But there's a deeper level that you experience with someone when you're in love, and when you feel that bond and that connection and that true intimacy. That's what intimacy really looks like. And so for me to feel that and feel something that I had never felt before was how I knew, like, this is it. This is my man. This is my ride or die. And we're going to be together forever. So I hope that helps you in your relationship. Like, if you're feeling some type of way, because like I said, if you're feeling like, I don't know, you might want to check those feelings. But if you're feeling like, you know what, this really feels different, and not just based on, you know, just sex, and not just based on because he's so fine or whatever, but like, if he's doing those things to show you that he cares about you, and you really feel like, you know, his words and actions line up together, then that could be the one for you. And I wish you the best. So that's my 8 signs that he may be the one. Make sure you connect with me and follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Shonda B. White, because I want to hear from you all. I have my website and my blog, which is ShondaBrownWhite.com. And then on Facebook, my Facebook official page is Life and Love Shonda Brown White. And if you haven't copied your book, you can get a copy on Amazon. Don't Be a Wife to a Boyfriend, 10 Lessons I Learned When I Was Single. And as always, thank you all for tuning in. And I love y'all. Peace, love, and happiness.